Welcome to the Taproom Exclusive. I'm your host, Dean Zarbaugh. Today's show is sponsored by House of Helga. Are you a brewery looking for some vibrant, stunning artwork to slap on that freshly bottled or canned beer? Or maybe you're starting a brewery and need help coming up with a logo. If so, contact House of Helga for all your design needs. They've worked with Masthead, Streetside, and yours truly here at the Taproom Exclusive. You can check out Kyla's entire portfolio of incredible artwork at houseohelga.com. On today's show, I chat with Brick and Barrel's brewer and founder Karl Spiesman over their tasty Noble Saison. But first, a taste of what's going on in the craft beer world with this week's Tasting Glass, brought to you by Northeast Ohio Craft Brewery News. The Ohio Craft Brewers Association president, Colin Castor, penned an op-ed in the Columbus Dispatch detailing the positive impact that the 2017 federal excise tax recalibration has had on the craft breweries and their local economies. Per the OCBA Facebook page, quote, "The OCBA urges Congress to make the current excise tax rate permanent and support small businesses that fuel local economies by passing the Craft Beverage Modernization and Tax Reform Act of 2019. End quote. To learn more about how this will help local breweries, read Colin's piece on dispatch.com. Big news out of Avon this week. Julie Short of Cleveland.com is reporting that friends of the show Avon Brewing Company have purchased the famed ZZ's Big Top, which will be rebranded as Avon Brewing Company Presents ZZ's Big Top. Brewmaster Matthias Hauk is planning on keeping the local corner pub theme by providing some ABC brews, plus some premium domestic beers on tap for the non-craft beer drinkers, along with ZZ's famous Bangarang wings and 30 other sauce options. This is exciting news for Lorain County and continues Avon Brewing Company's takeover of Northeast Ohio. For more information on this story, check out Julie's article on Cleveland.com. Rick Armon of the Akron Beacon Journal and Ohio.com is reporting that Wolf's Ridge Brewing Company is in plans to take over the old four-string facility in Columbus. Wolf's Ridge will switch from bottles to cans with the transition and expect distribution to begin rolling out slowly upon their brewing license approval. For more information on this exciting story, check out Rick's article on Ohio.com. Susan Post of Columbus Underground is reporting that Chicago's Forbidden Root Brewing Company is opening its second location in Easton, 15 minutes east of downtown Columbus. According to Susan's article, the new location will feature 12,000 square feet over 2 levels and feature outdoor seating as well. For more information on Forbidden Root's upcoming Easton location, including their beer selection, menu, and proposed opening date, check out Susan's article on columbusunderground.com. All right, my interview with Karl Spiesman, brewer for Brick and Barrel in Cleveland, Ohio, is up next. Welcome back to the finale of Brick and Barrel. I'm with Karl Spiesman here at Brick and Barrel. We have moved on to the Noble Saison. Tell the people a little bit about this. Is a bit of a wine beer hybrid of yours?
Yeah, so this is this particular one would be a Riesling wine must, usually from M Cellars.
Ooh.
Try to work with Matt as much as possible. And that would mean you'd have to really hustle bustle during the harvest time to get fresh must. So it's a must of Riesling. So must being non-fermented grape juice with anything in it. There could be some stems in there accidentally. There could be a little bit of leaf, material. So you never ever really get 100%. Not saying that. I mean, some of these larger wineries can get clear juice, but this would be unfermented juice that has a lot of hazy things going on there. So yeah, what that is, that's co-fermented with a saison. I'll start fermentation, both of them with like a white wine yeast and then Belgian yeast strain.
Okay.
And what will happen is they just kind of try to use the right. After a while, I've learned that a certain percentage of the must, certain percentage of the wort has a nice marriage. 50-50 might be too overwhelming. It might turn out too sweet, because they might not ferment out. It gets cloyingly kind of gross or, something like that. So I like it dry. So a nice, gets that real dry white wine meets a Belgian beer flavored characteristics to it. And I love Riesling, so it's like a Riesling head, so I love that.
What for people who might not know what's a Saison? How it's in such a kind of middle ground category that some people aren't familiar with it. How would you describe a Saison?
To me, like I said, I mean, I love German lagers. I love British beer. I love what we do in the United States. And then the Belgians just do a whole nother thing, especially traditionally. now everything's, evolving in a different, kind of everyone's trying to be in a certain category. But to me, growing up through the beer world and reading your textbooks, beers being like a Saison as one of them, means season in the Belgian French, dialect language. But so a Saison farmhouse style ale, in a nutshell, back in the day, even when you were brewing it, in England or Germany or in the United States, you're brewing for in your local small area, your little super mesoclimate and or microclimate, and whatever's going to happen in your little area is going to affect your fermentation. And back then, they didn't have, not a lot of us or any of them had cooling or controllable fermentations.
Okay.
So what's going to happen is going to happen, and a lot of times it's open top, very little closed top fermentations. And it's going to be whatever temperature is going to be, whenever yeast strain, bacteria, or wild yeast strain or microflora that's in the air is going to drop in there and say hello. And they're going to fight against each other. So in Belgium, these small farmhouses would brew with whatever they have on the farm, with usually grain as well, like your Pilsner style grains or, those kind of light grains, because they didn't put them through a malting program, to get them different colors and flavors. So you'd have that, and they'd put oats, any kind of spices, herbs, grains of paradise, things like that, coriander, orange peel, whatever's on the farm, whatever's thirst quenching, whatever they like to do. So it's like making a soup for them that gets fermented, and it's thirst quenching, and they use it as sometimes as payment to the farmers.
Okay.
So that's a traditional, reading a book kind of thing.
Right.
But so here, same, we try to replicate that as best we can. Sometimes you get really geeky and you buy some fun tools and try to do really traditional. But, at the end of the day, we're just, doing a nice Saison recipe. I'm doing a Saison recipe and then putting a nice Belgian yeast strain that I like. And you mess with it all the time. But that's a Saison to me, and that's what makes it fun. But I don't get it, a lot of the bacteria or any kind of wild yeast, because we control it. I control it with temperature and closed top fermentation and cleanliness and sanitizing things. So
What and the two sides of that coin? How does that affect flavor? Like if open air fermentation versus how you do it?
Yeah, I mean, I've even done it. I've done the open air one. I have a little kettle, and I've done that. And then I've even done a barrel. We let it ferment in a barrel. And so you're going to get whatever's in the air and whatever's inside that barrel. In your stainless container, it was just whatever's in the air, because I cleaned and sanitized the kettle. But so what it does is, it can go south and go bad, or it could be really fun, interesting, and have a lot of different flavors and aromas. So, when you get, your yeast strain, if you inoculate, is going to be usually the most powerful thing that's going to happen. But if you don't inoculate with the yeast strain, you're relying exactly what's on the vessel, in the air, or anything that kind of came through that didn't get sterilized through the boil, or if you add something in it. Let's say you add some orange peel straight up, and there's something on the orange peel. You're going to get whatever on that. And that's some of the greatest winemakers, or even just not even greatest, but just winemaking in general, for the grape side, they've been doing it so long, or just realize there's something going on. Same thing with the Belgians, that they won't let anything touch it. They want the same. They won't kill the cobwebs. They won't barely clean their hoses in their barrels. They let that air, that whatever the atmosphere, take control. Then sometimes what I've learned is they'll intervene at a certain point.
Okay.
All right, let's put this yeast strain that we love in there, that we've been using forever. And it's really cool to see, because I've worked with French winemakers. One specifically worked in the Rhone, and we worked together in New Zealand. And so same thing, New Zealand's winemaking's like us, New World winemaking.
Okay.
And they'll we were cleaning hoses every day. Every day before we start any process, we're putting whatever solution to clean, and then whatever acid or citric acid through it to help kind of neutralize.
Yeah.
The first week he came, we were just bullshitting and having a beer and some wine, and he goes, why are you guys cleaning so much? I'm like, I don't know. It's just kind of what we do. I mean, I know why. I mean, he cleans to kill stuff and helps, flavors, whatever, blah, blah, for anything happening. In France, in his winery, they clean the beginning of harvest and at the end of harvest.
Okay.
There you go. Holy crap. That would be awesome, because I hate cleaning every day.
Right.
But so that's the same thing. They're not worried, because they have it. They have it down pat.
They've been doing it for a while.
Yeah, they know what's going on. They're doing it, and that's what they like, and that's what the people, the local community like, their consumer, and sometimes it's one of the greatest things in the world. So we control it here, because we want it consistent, and we don't want anyone to poo-poo it or whatever.
Yeah.
But so that's why that's how I do it here. But I'm gonna work on doing some fun things very soon. So I like that style too. But it is nerve-wracking, because we don't have generation of a facility here that's been making wine and beer or whatever. So when this was a welding shop before here, I don't know what that means. Like what's going to happen. But so yeah,
and it's saisons are another style that I've gotten turned on to from doing the show. I've really enjoyed kind of exploring that category, and a lot of times, and correct me if I'm wrong, they're not as super high alcohol content. They're right around like 5 and below, somewhere in there, 6 and below.
Yeah,
somewhere in there.
And I think, again, there's BJCP things and whatever and guidelines, but I think at the end of the day, anything, if we were going by ABV, anything above 4 is pretty, right on. Anything below 6.5 is right in there. If you go BJCP, I'm sure it's like 4.8 to like 6.3 or some crap like that. But and I don't know because I suck at remembering all that stuff.
Yeah,
but
I've been trying to study that stuff, and I just can't memorize it.
Fine. I get yelled at by other friends and brewers. You should know. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But I think at the end of the day, it's the flavors. And then if it's like really high in alcohol, then you're just kind of like, dude, that's not a saison. That's really high. But if it's a great flavored beer, interesting and fun, it's a saison. You can taste that yeast strain. The yeast strain's the driver. You know what I mean? It's nowadays, for especially controlled fermentations, it's the driver. You get all those fun phenolics and some great fruity flavors, and that Belgian characteristic that is kind of unreplicated in other yeast styles besides the Belgian yeast style. You just know it. Like you mean right now, we had one, close your eyes, like, oh man, that's a Belgian. You just know. And like it could be a bubblegum candied kind of thing, or not necessarily Hefeweizen bubblegum or whatever, but like the Belgian kind. And so you just know, man, you're like, that's a Belgian beer. And then the saison, same thing. Like the more interesting ones to me are the ones that aren't messed with as much. You just like do stuff to it and have fun. Let it open top ferment. Then I'm always excited. But when they get like so sterile, you're just like, oh, okay. I mean, it's a saison, but and it's like a mass marketed or something.
It loses some of its attractiveness, I guess.
Yeah, the personality's gone. Like,
the personality.
It's just not there. It's like boring. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah, it's saison.
And that's what open air gives you. I mean, like open air in Belgium versus open air in Cleveland, you're getting two different. You're getting two different things. I mean, that can just change the flavor altogether just based on location, and it gives it a more localized feel, I guess. In a way, it may be bacteria, but it's our bacteria. You know what I mean? Like, at least we know it. At least it's ours. It's ours. That it's in our backyard. Mm-hmm. And it kind of, I don't know. It just, in a way, it helps you feel a little bit more connected to it in a way. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
No, it does. And I think the hard part is too, is when you look at European brewers, say a saison producer, that house probably only does 3 to 5 different beers, and they're probably just saisons.
Yeah.
So, and then they've been doing it for, let's just say, 50 to 150 years, and maybe it's longer, maybe it's a little shorter. So, when you're a craft brewer here, you're probably doing one saison a couple times a year. Maybe you have a house saison. Maybe you do an occasional barrel, but you've only been doing it for 3 to 5 years. You're probably not most time doing open top. Now, if we had this same conversation in 65 years, we might be like, that the Saison house down in the flats or whatever, they've been doing it for 65. They have that similar beer. They only do like 3 saisons. That's not, we don't talk like that anymore, right? We just, because there's nothing really like that in the larger percentage.
Correct.
If there is some, it's a very small percentage. So that's cool and it's interesting and exciting, but it's hard to compete in the market. So, but anyways, I detour. But detour. But so that's kind of. That one day can happen, but it's different,
You still got to kind of educate the people who might not know, consumers who might not know what a saison is. There's still that extra little hurdle you got to get over.
Right.
Where
if you're just drinking Boulevard 7 all the time, you're going to think that's what a saison is. Now, when you have like, saison DuPont or something, you're like, whoa, it says I don't like this. You're like, whoa, man, that's a saison, baby. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. There's a bunch of them. There's a handful of them, but so it's fun, and that's what's cool. And I think that's like. Again, it's the educating the consumer and helping them out and having fun with craft beer. Never making them feel like there's a right or wrong answer or they don't know what they're talking about. Like we were talking about Untapped. I mean, you gotta appease them too. Like, yes, if everything for you is an Untapped review, that's great. That's the world you're gonna live in. Yep. That's like when you buy a car or whatever. That's great. You know what I mean? But beer, I don't think beer's supposed to be. You agree? It's not supposed to be drank by purely reviews. You gotta try it. You gotta support and you gotta trust that. Hopefully we're not there just to make a dime. It's a passion thing, you know. Because I've worked in the industry for long enough to know I haven't made a lot of money, like even as a shift brewer. It's fun. It's a passion. You know what I mean? You're not like, man, I
do
bought
it
that yacht because I'm brewing. Yeah, man, it's fantastic. So, and like you said, great community and great things. So, yeah, well, again.
If someone wanted to take the Saison, the Noble Saison home and maybe eat something with it again, do something lighter, probably.
Yeah, that one's fun. Again, you want to... Again, this is all subjective, right? Tasting and drinking. Like, someone might say, it went great with a steak. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's fantastic. I'd love to know. But again, probably those lighter, like white meat, like a chicken, or, you know, a lightly, not unsmoked kind of pork or something, with like a light glaze, like maybe even like apricot glaze or something like that, or, peach glaze. But, and then, your lighter dishes, kind of the middle of the road, like maybe like rice dishes, the quinoa with some, like, you know, maybe some vegetables, and then again, it's fun with lighter fruit, you know, like lighter fruity kind of desserts, and then even like maybe a light fish, like a swordfish or something like that. But yeah, you know, and then again, you don't want any overpowering flavors. Like, the nice thing, there is some Riesling characteristics to it, so you can get into maybe close to the blue kind of vein cheese, smoky cheeses, but the heavier you get, like a smoked Gouda, it's just kind of overpower. But yeah,
super sharp cheddar.
Yeah, you can go with the cheddar, like light cheddar or something. But and I like meat and cheese boards and like putting, you know, like dates and figs and whatever kind of fruits and nuts on there, because you kind of get the meat, you get the fruit, you get the cheese, some of the characteristics of different foods, and you can have fun with that way. And you're not committed to like one dish, you know, and you can kind of go like, now you're going, okay, so this beer can, if I go to a restaurant and I get a Saison, and I'm not going to get a cheese board and a meat and cheese board and nut board every time I go to a restaurant. So you're like, I'm going to commit to this pork chop, but I know that pork chop has that glaze. It's probably going to go well with this Saison. Yeah. And that's fun, and that's how geeky, you know, you want to get it. But
absolutely.
I think it's fun. If you're spending your hard-earned money on it, why not have fun with your palate, you know? So,
100%.
Hell yeah.
Anything else about the Saison you want to get out before we head out?
Yeah, one thing. So every harvest I do a Pinot Noir Saison with Matt and M Cellars, and I do a nice fresh Riesling so sometimes, like, the detour back to what I was saying, you know, you get must and you can only get it during harvest. You know, sometimes you got to work harder throughout the year. So, you know, if I get some and I can freeze it, and that's great. But then if it goes out, it's usually out. You know what I mean? So that's why right now I'm out. But you know, harvest right around the corner, so I'll have some for, maybe I'll get more, so I can have some in July or August next year. But so every time, so for M Cellars and me, we're doing another wine and must series.
Nice.
Or I'm sorry, must and beer series. So yeah, I'll probably do a couple more different ones. I did a quad with Cabernet, which was pretty good. So I'll probably do some more stuff, and I'll look out for some more barrel aged saisons, and I'm getting a nice big Italian French wine vat. Nice. So I'll be doing some maybe some funky, fun, and clean Belgians. So
very cool. So I have this segment I do at the end of the series. It's called Between Two Hops. It is a little question I came up with and sort of stole from inside the actor studio. Tweaked it up a little bit to be about craft beer. Some extra questions on here too. But what is your favorite style of beer to brew and to drink?
Okay, so they can be different?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, they don't have to be the same.
Gotcha. Well, besides mashing in, because I'm pretty archaic here, I have a little small wooden pole in a Brute container that I dump into. The Wee Heavy's my favorite. Okay. But it's I sweat the most on that one, and I get the best workout, so my biceps look sweet afterwards. But the Wee Heavy's awesome to brew. I wouldn't say it's my favorite one to drink all the time, but a German lager, like a clean, beautiful, delicious German lager is any kind. Pilsner, I don't even care. If it's a great German lager.
One of my favorite, every once in a while I'm on the craft beer Reddit subreddit, and someone will comment, oh, give me a nice clean lager, and then someone will comment, found the brewer. Found the brewer. Generally, that's what it is. There's the brewer. On the opposite end of that, what's your least favorite style of beer to brew and to drink? Not necessarily because it's bad, but just maybe the work that goes involved with it, or something that maybe isn't pleasing to your palate.
This is probably the Wee Heavy again, because I know when I wake up in the morning, I got to brew that beer, but because it has a pain in the butt, it's a lot of malt. But it's like a love-hate. That's probably is it, because being so small and not having like an elevator, a grain elevator, you know, or anything like that, I got a lot of work ahead of me that day, and it's a long brew. It's a 2-hour boil, yada yada. But see, I don't really hate brewing any beers. I guess I more like tend to not like some styles. But some that I don't brew. So I guess, being a brewer, you shouldn't brew just what you like, because that's, suicide, I guess you could say. But it's I guess I don't love hazy IPAs, but I have never brewed one, so I can't say. Yeah.
There's a first time.
Well, some hazy IPAs are good. I just the burn. I'm not that big on the burn.
Yeah, you got to find the right one.
Exactly.
Some of those can burn really like.
Exactly.
And I like that style, but that is something that you get the wrong one, and you're like, wow, that's like.
I think I need to drink more, like you said, because when I first had one, I had one with a buddy brewer, and he got it from a really recognized brewery, and it was an amazing brewery. And I know it was a good beer, but I just couldn't do it. But I remember working at a winery, and I drank something that had citric acid in it. Okay. In the wine, when you first mix it with some stuff, you add stuff in wine. But I drank. I was like, holy crap, it burned so bad. Yeah. And I had that same like deja vu experience, and I was like, do people like this? And he's like, yeah, this is like one of the best selling beers in like Ohio or like in the country. And I'm like, holy crap, I'm missing something, man. Yeah. But anyways, that's just me.
Everybody likes their own thing.
Yeah.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Man, I probably could answer that like sometime this past year. So probably whatever Michael Jackson, the beer hunter, did.
Okay.
Whatever he is, I would have loved that. Yeah. Back in the day, 1975 to 1985, just going to Belgium and they laid the red carpet out. So I guess a beer journalist, but like specifically like Michael Jackson, the beer hunter. Awesome. Yeah, for sure.
What profession would you not like to attempt?
Oh, man. I don't know. I guess there's probably a million things. I don't think I ever want to be a lawyer. Lawyer? They're awesome.
Never win.
I love half the guys I know, but yeah.
Lawyer. Most people just lawyer. Nothing against lawyers listening.
Yeah,
please
great.
Don't sue me.
I love them. Yeah.
Which hurdles did you personally face opening Brick and Barrel, and how did you overcome them?
Probably the biggest hurdle is not having food. And then, we opened relatively fast. I opened, within 9 months of actually signing a lease, which is pretty impressive. But I didn't rush either. Just kind of got the license early. And but you see in here, there's not a food. It's not a lot of bells and whistles. I didn't redo floors, and it's not mascara all over the place. But probably just still, and to the day opening is just not having a food, a kitchen or a kitchenette. That's been a hard thing to kind of overcome. But it hasn't done a dent on anything. It's just something that it hasn't hurt. It's just one of those things. Yeah. That's probably
like you said in an earlier episode. There's so much to do around here that throwing another kitchen into here or something. There's just so much around here. You can find something.
Yeah,
you can find something to eat. So, that's some people might see that as a negative, but every place is different.
Yeah, thanks, man. Absolutely.
And what for you? What was the most interesting trend that you saw in craft beer in 2019?
Interesting trend?
Yes.
Man, I'm probably out of all my peers and everybody, I'm the worst person to ask, because I kind of laid off the past years after I bought beer for some beer bars and stuff, and then I kind of just stuck my nose into the business side and just brewing.
Right.
But as far as interesting, I think the hazy IPA thing's pretty interesting, like how that kind of blew up so fast, and then how companies are trying to navigate through the market. What are we going to do to compete, and how are we going to keep our shelf space attractive? So just seeing how they're doing like seltzer waters and alcohol flavored coffee and things, to me that's interesting. Not an exciting thing, but interesting, because I'm like, well, that kind of tells you how fast we need things. In sports, like baseball is boring to people because they want someone scoring every 5 seconds. Yeah. So that's kind of where our brains are. Our brains need to be completely entertained at all times.
Yeah.
So, I just think it's interesting to me how people are disattracting from classic beer, but then once you keep giving them it, they're excited because how nice it is. You know. So it's interesting to me how the craft beer scene it moves around so fast and wiggles around.
On the opposite end of that, what would you say was the least interesting trend that you saw this year? Again, nothing that you have a personal vendetta or anything against, just something that isn't maybe your cup of tea or cup of beer.
Yeah, exactly. Man, good question. You know, it is least. You know, it kind of is uninteresting, and I don't know if it's interesting or uninteresting. Is how we bring pumpkin beers out in July,
Right
and Oktoberfest out in June.
Yeah,
It's weird to me.
that's weird.
It kind of sucks because then it's just
Like,
it's a
pumpkins
definite
aren't being
money making
harvested.
marketing thing. Yeah, and
What's in
and
that
I
beer?
get it. Yeah, and then again, it comes to the consumer not understanding what the hell's going on, and you're like, when is Oktoberfest? Is it October? Like, it's not, but still, you're like, it's close
It's
enough.
the 8th month.
Yeah, and you have like 3 months to drink it before it even starts.
Julius
Yeah.
Caesar decided to shove a bunch of more months into this calendar.
Julius Caesar is a money grabber,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. And then not saying that they have a lot of big things they got to pay for, and a lot of
Right.
people
No,
that need
absolutely.
to get some dough, and I get that. But at the same time, it takes away the appeal of what the history of some of these products are. And I think to me, it kind of draws some uninterest in my brain, and it kind of makes it. Then they go like, well, I think I'm doing it right, but at the same time, am I doing it right for the better of my family and for me? And that to me is uninteresting because it kind of kills a little bit of the spirit of the whole thing.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, I guess that's it.
What is one piece of practical advice you would give to someone starting out in this industry?
Just learn from the ground up. Work at a brewery. Home brewing is fantastic because you get to mess with it every single day that you want. I mean, given scale of your brewery. But and I think some of the great brewers that popped in there have just been home brewers. They didn't have to have like a Siebel degree or everyone's a brewmaster now because they opened something or work for a brewery. But I think a brewmaster or someone opening a brewery or getting in the industry should really get their feet wet a lot and really learn it because none of us know everything. I tell you straight up, I don't know half the things that I should know, but I also know what I do know, and I want to make it right and do it right. So just knowing your beer styles, knowing what the bases are, and then we have the responsibility as brewers to help the consumer along,
Right.
and actually get a face out there, have a good rep, have a good bartender, and even if you're the brewer and you don't want to go out there, make sure someone is talking to your people. It's like that's just get your feet wet, school of hard knocks, and then the education and books, just nail them, and then talk to the brewers because they're all pretty awesome people, and everybody in the beer industry, like yourself, Dean, like you guys know a shit ton, so we all benefit from each other. Learning, so it's fun. It's just a good group.
If you could send a message to yourself 10 years ago, what would you tell the younger you?
I don't know. I'm pretty happy. I like everything I'm doing.
Nice.
I got a good family. I got good friends. I'm in a good town. Probably build my wine cellar better. Have a better selection and not drink it all. Not cellar every beer that I've thought could cellar for 2 years. Drink it now. Don't wait. That's the dumbest stuff because you spend like $20 on a bottle
just
of
to
beer.
sit on it for 2 years.
Because you're waiting for that right
Yeah.
moment. That's kind of like little small things, but really nothing. I like what we did. I like what we're doing. I mean, I could probably sit here all day and like bitch about something, but but really, no, nothing. Life is good. I'm happy to be here, so it's awesome.
Absolutely. And the last question, what or who has been the biggest influence in your brewing career?
That's a great question. I think it's really, man, it's funny you say that. I've I've worked with some great brewmasters in the past, and I think they have obviously been in my brain on this, like learning from them. Some of the guys who created, the Black Butte Porter, or you name some of these style of beers, they made them, and just like shaking hands with some of them. But really, it's those guys were there, with work, or they were there and gone. But all the guys I work with now in the brewing society, any brewery in Cleveland, you name it, pretty much. Like Vaughn's here right now. All my buddies around here. I think those are the guys because we talk all the time. We go on trips together. We're great friends. We help each other out. No one's trying to put anybody under. And then, like I said, we're just it's like a good brewing family. So I think just them combined right now, the Cleveland Brewers are, and even some of the owners, and not everyone has to be an owner or a brewer, but the owners and some of the support teams and even like, not besides that, like the industry people, any kind of representative, bartender, people do the brew bus tours. Those are the people that help you along and that you learn from, in a nutshell. So,
Karl, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you having me out here today. Anything else you want to get out about Brick and Barrel for the fans before we head out?
Yeah, maybe just a couple things. So I mentioned the Wine Must series that's coming out, but I got so my casks have been down. I had 3 Pools beer engines that I need to get parts for. I just decided to get a 3 standalone cask beer engine on top of the cooler, so I'm putting lines on now. Just waiting from England for a couple things, and should see what's today. By first week of August, maybe the first week in August, should have 3 real ales on tap. So back at that, and then probably you're gonna look into doing a real ale, kind of like a beer club, a real ale beer club. Have something fun, like get a T-shirt and a pint to sign up, and then you get like whatever. We might not keep a glass here for you, but like, there's glasses here, and you're just part of the system. But until we can find more space for glasses,
right? Absolutely.
Yeah, and then a couple cool things. Bob Fest is coming up for Bob who passed away. And it's in September. A couple fun other things. Just keep checking on us on social media, mainly Facebook and Instagram.
Absolutely.
And that's about it, man.
Carl, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks,
and
Steve.
Thank you all for tuning in. Tune in next time for another all-new episode here on the Tap Room Exclusive.